Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are taking a look at a game called Mercenary Kings, which was just launched on Steam a couple days ago. And first off, I want to say thanks to my buddy Danny Baranowski for getting me this game. I didn't even know about it, first of all. And which is kind of odd to me because I'm actually a pretty big fan of Paul Robertson, or I've always enjoyed his work at least. So he is the artist and animator of the great graphics you'll be seeing in this game. So let's jump right in. So Mercenary Kings is kind of like a Contra or Metal Slug style game. I'm going to be starting a new game. We choose between a male or female character, we choose a color, and we can choose a name. So I'm just going to go with the defaults for now. So the controls are pretty simple. I like to play with my Xbox 360 style controller, and it feels great. The feedback is one of the highlights of this game. The graphics and the animations are probably second, and the sound is also just fantastic. So you get these, story sequences, and I'm gonna just kind of be talking and skipping over these for now, but I really just want to jump into the game because that's really where the meat of this game's appeal is in the actual gameplay. So you start out dropped into this base camp, and you've got your basic movement. You can do this roll with the B button. You can jump, do short jumps, high jumps, depending on how long you hold the button. And you can fire your gun, and it'll reload. You can reload manually as well. And there's actually another function where if you reload and you hit it in the yellow zone, it'll reload instantly. There's also, if you hit it in the green, you get these flashing bullets, which I think kind of buff your attack slightly. So there's NPCs you can talk to and interact with. You can just chat it up with them, or you can build. So let me just get into all this. So basically, let's just do our first mission before we get into all that. So here's our colonel. So we talk to our colonel to take missions. Right now we're at the recruit level, so we can't even touch these other missions. But there's 3 missions available to us right out of the box, and let's go with Guns and Blades because it's the first one. We get briefed, we get our, description, we get our objective. Sometimes there's extra objectives, there's a time limit and a reward. So we're gonna accept this mission, and then we're gonna go up to here to the helicopter, and we're gonna start the mission. So this game is up to 4-player multiplayer co-op. You can play locally or online. If you play locally, it splits the screen 4 ways, even if you have 2 players, which is kind of a drag. Keep in mind that this is an advanced release of the game, so there might be some things that will end up changing. So right now we're in the jungle theme level, and as you can see, the gameplay is just almost indiscernible from Metal Slug. It's pretty much Metal Slug with Paul Robertson graphics and animations. And the nice thing about this is, unlike Contra and Metal Slug, there's actually some objectives like that will, for me it keeps me wanting to play. If you notice, that enemy drops some steel, and I'm just kind of doing things automatically right now, but enemies have a tendency to drop loot. Like this guy, he just dropped some wood. So if we pick up the wood and we check our inventory, we'll have materials. Right now we've only got 1 piece of steel and 1 piece of wood, but enemies will drop, common materials, uncommon materials, and rare materials, and you end up crafting weapon parts and upgrading your armor with these materials. Now, the really cool thing is that once you've got enough materials and you've built enough parts, you can pretty much customize your weapon loadout as you see fit. You could have like an SMG receiver with a shotgun barrel. You can have you can just mix and match. Like, the level of customization undoubtedly creates thousands of possibilities, and that is probably the highlight feature of this game for me, and we're gonna get into that. If we don't see a lot of that, after completing this mission, I'll just hop into my other game so I can show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. But now to bring the focus back to the gameplay, the feedback of this game is another really good point. Everything feels right. Like, it's just like with this game, it's almost like they checked all the right boxes. I'm really impressed with this game. I think that it might just be one of the best games of 2013 so far. And, I'm just really loving it. I'm loving, like, the Castlevania style, loot drops. I'm loving, the Borderlands style weapon customization. I'm loving, you know, this really tight, classic platform shooter gameplay that's, you know, we've all know and love from games like classics like Contra and games like Metal Slug. So right now our health is getting low, so we have a backpack, and in the backpack we default with our weapon, our 3 hand grenades, and 2 first aid kits. So we're going to select the first aid kit and use that to restore our health, and then switch back to our weapon. If we run out of first aid, we can actually dial one in with the transceiver. I'll just use that to show you guys. So the thing with this is you can only get 1 supply drop per mission, and it's pretty much a shared call between, whoops, rolling into spikes. So it's shared between everybody who's playing, so it's not like each person can get one, it's just 1 per person. The grenade is pretty simple. I don't, whoa. Yeah, it's simple, but not very easy for people like me to use. But anyways, so yeah, like, it's got other items that you can equip, and the thing is, you can only really hold 2 items at a time because, you know, you bring this up with LB, and then you kind of use the directional pad to select which one you want. And the weapon and the transceiver will always take those slots, while you can kind of switch these out. Let's say you want to pick up an item in the level. Whoops, we just used that accidentally. But if we wanted to drop this, we could actually just drop stuff and lighten our load. There is like kind of some like encumbrance system going on. So I hope I'm not going too fast for you guys, by the way. I'm just trying to cover all the bases because this game has a considerable amount of depth to it, considering that it's, you know, just basically a platform shooter at first glance, but there's just so much more going on under the hood. So let's see here. In addition to our rolling, our shooting, we also have this knife attack, which is good when we're reloading or we're, you know, doing some up-close melee stuff. But other than that, you know, it's not too... we will be defaulting to our gun in most cases. So now we're fighting these slugs, or these snails rather. And, you know, apart from all the other influences I mentioned, I also get like some Mega Man vibes from this game sometimes. Like with enemies like these, you know, armored ones where the shots bounce off when they're not, you know, vulnerable. To just some other things that happen, like just a lot of it is very Mega Man-ish in a lot of ways. And the music too. So this game, like I was saying earlier, it might be one of my favorite games of 2013 so far. I've only had it for a couple... shit. So we died. That's good that we died because you'll notice that we have respawned in this little area. So the thing is, there's checkpoints throughout the level that, you know, the game will spawn us. But once we run out of lives, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, we only have 2 left. You start with 3. And you, once you lose them all, of course, you fail the mission. But every time you lose a life, you also lose some of the mission rewards. So we're actually doing this mission for like $600, but we just lost like 200 from dying. So there is penalties, you know, if you don't play right. And I'm not playing my best right now because, well, first of all, I'm starting out with the default loadout. So I've got some really, you know, basically have to tap the gun for every shot I want to take. Now, let me just check my map. So we do get a map. Alright, and we want to go up here, actually. So we're going to kill this sniper. The default gun is just, you know, press the button to shoot, but you'll get shotguns that... Okay, so here's our objective. We want to rescue this lady and get a little bit of fan service there. Paul Robertson style, you know, classic Paul Robertson right there. So, mission complete. So that was not bad. So this is the first 10 minutes of the game. Now I'm going to spend the rest of the video kind of looking at the customization stuff. I'm going to try to keep it short because I don't want to draw this out too long. This isn't really a let's play. This is kind of more of a quick glance at the game with my thoughts on it. So once we've rescued her, we can now access the weapon shop. So when we go to weapon, we can build parts, we can customize a weapon using the parts we have, and we can save and equip sets that we've built. So let's go to build parts and let's look at the receiver. So the receivers are like the type of gun it is. There's shotguns, SMGs, assault rifles, which are kind of like a 3-round burst setup, handguns, which fire fast and reload fast, but they're not really high damage output unless they're like magnums. well, a Magnum is a different class of gun, so those have really high damage output, but you know, they're kind of, so it's kind of like really what you like. If you like high damage output single shot guns, you're probably going to want to go with a Magnum or a sniper rifle. If you want something that's fast but manual, you're probably going to want to go with a handgun. It's lightweight and you know, you can reload fast and shoot fast. If you're like me, you're going to opt for something that's fully automatic, like the Artillery Jaeger. This gun is still my favorite, even though and let me just tell you, you're going to unlock so many more parts than just what you see here. These are just, you know, the first wave. So I've unlocked pretty much the third tier of weapons, and I'm still using the Artillery Jaeger, just because if you look at its stats on the left, it's got 16 RPS, so 16 rounds per second. It's still the fastest gun I've unlocked, a minigun, but the minigun has some other drawbacks, like a really long reload time. So I found that the Artillery Jaeger is just like perfect for me, and actually I'll demonstrate it. But first we're gonna look at barrel. So let's just get a barrel for our gun, because we can actually afford it. So we've got 6 pieces of steel and 4 pieces of wood, and all of these barrels use steel and wood. So we don't have a barrel on our gun currently, so we can select any of these 3. The Denali is a shotgun barrel, the Artillery Jaeger is an SMG barrel, and the Sturm rifle is an assault rifle. So what the barrels do is they increase your accuracy and your range, and sometimes your power, but at the cost of adding weight. So it looks like the Denali barrel is actually going to give us the most power, so we're going to equip that. We're going to buy that, and now we're going to install it. So now when we go out, notice that our pistol is no longer just a pistol, but it's actually got a shotgun barrel on it, and it's going to be doing some more damage. As a result, it's added some weight, and as that weight adds up, it'll slowly, you know, decrease our movement speed. So jumping back in, we can also build magazines, which will give us more capacity than just 6 shots or whatever we've got in our gun. Later on, we'll unlock sights, which increase accuracy. Stock kind of increases stability and therefore increases accuracy, but they also add weight. And ammunition, different kind of shots, like, and this kind of borrows a little bit from Borderlands. You'll get your caustic, which is, you know, acidic rounds that deal damage to machines, and cryogenic, which I haven't figured out what, you know, all of these do. You know, incendiary is fire, cryogenic is ice, electric is electricity. So you get like these elemental damage modifiers that stack on top of your damage. So right now we're actually gonna hop out and we're gonna get on my other character, which has a lot of stuff unlocked. So let's go to my default character. And here he is. I called him Foobs. So I just want to give you guys an example of the kind of, like, you know, just high level of customization that you can do with these weapons, because I've purchased a lot of parts. So here's my main character, and he's using an SMG essentially with a really weird trombone style barrel on the end of it. So it's like an SMG blunderbuss, and it's got caustic shots, so it fires super fast, has a pretty moderate reload time, but I'm really just pleased with like the speed. And let me talk to her, and I'll customize my weapon. So let me show you some other, you kind of, when you're doing your weapon customization, you can select from parts you've already built, and it'll show you down in the bottom right hand panel some examples of how things will work with the different. So here's what the minigun receiver works like. Fires a lot faster, but it has like this abysmal reload time. So as you can see, we still haven't even gotten our opportunity to hit reload until right now. So yeah. It's got a lot of capacity, it fires fast, and it sprays everywhere, but you might even notice my guy is moving a little slower with it. So that's kind of, you kind of have to get a feel for what play style you're going to go for, you know, which weapon, how you want to customize your weapons. I mean, we could choose the minigun as our default receiver and then balance, you know, barrels and magazines around it until we find something that like lowers its weight and, you know, maybe lowers its reload time. But overall, you know, you just got to find out what's right for you. And then once you've got a weapon you like, you can just kind of save it and then equip it later. So this is like my default gun. But yeah, the level of customization is really deep, I think. You know, there's armor-piercing rounds that go through targets and walls. There's ball shots, which will bounce if they hit the ground, almost like a grenade. There's bird shot, which is basically like buckshot, where you just fire out like what I'm ideally working towards in this game, as far as a customized weapon, would be having a weapon. Well, let me just let's equip the, let's see, the hand cannon. So in order to use things like the bird shot, we have to bring, so the bird shot ammo type is lead shot. So on the left we have different ammunition types. We're actually going to need to bring those ammunition types up to 100% if we want to use ammunition of that type. So right now we've got our lead shot at over 100%, so that means we can equip the bird shot. So this is what the bird shot looks like. As you can see, it's basically a spread gun. So ideally what I'd like to do is have the bird shot equipped, but with full auto, because right now I'm just hitting the button manually. And you know, I can tap it pretty fast, but it's not as nice as being able to hold it down. I think it would be awesome to have this in rapid fire. So my goal in this game, and hopefully it's possible, and I have a hunch that it is to eventually get a gun that will bring up my lead shot, the receiver. So basically I'll have, you know, something really awesome. But, you know, other than that, other than the weapon customization, you can forge different knives, which vary slightly in power, but seem to be mostly just aesthetic as far as the upgrade goes. But, you know, some of them, like the glaive, for instance, are actually quite long, so you can increase your melee range with different knives. In addition to melee weapons, you can build mods, and mods give you these perks, and they also can give you drawbacks. The first one I got was Hoarder, and this mod guarantees that enemies will drop a material if they're killed. On the drawback, it means that it decreases your rate of getting rare items. However, there is a mod that increases your rate of getting rare items, but the drawback of that is that it makes you poor and you get less money for your missions. So again, you kind of just have to, like, once you've built things, you kind of just have to balance how you'll, you know, set your character up. So, I mean, this is pretty much the game in a nutshell. It looks well, it plays well, it's just everything about it is great. So, guys, I can't recommend this game anymore. It's Mercenary Kings. Check it out on Steam. You know, I think it's around 15 bucks. You know, it's probably worth 15 bucks. You know, if you can get it for 10, it's a must buy. It's really good, and you're gonna have a lot of fun with it. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this look at Mercenary Kings.